Tales from the Jails. Thank you very much for watching this channel. Do please like and subscribe. It's down there. If you would, that's very kind of you. Anyway, thank you all to those who watched and took part in my live broadcast on the 9th. Here we are, and today Tales from the Jails is once again talking about female prison officers who managed to get themselves locked up. There's been a number of recent stories in the press. In fact, every time you switch the news online, you can see stories about female jailers who have ended up as female inmates because they've been holding inappropriate interactions with male prisoners. And now listen, it is my belief, very much like the post office scandal, that this is another scandal just waiting to break. It's the problem that you've got is that the female prison officers have got virtually no representation. They've got a thing called the Prison Officers Association, which in my opinion is about as much use, I hate to use cliches, but as much use as a chocolate fire guard. You know, it ain't going to do anything. And also there's a recent, you just go and have a look at the BBC side. Prison officers who had inappropriate relationships with not one, not two, but three different prisoners at HMP ALTCOURSE. That's in Merseyside, that's near Liverpool, yeah? Her name is Sarah Williams, and her lawyers said that she fell into the traps and arms of sophisticated criminals. Well, you don't actually have to have a degree in criminology to realise that prisons that hold medium to long-term inmates are very likely to have sophisticated career criminals as their occupants of the cells. And yet the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice are placing vulnerable women on the landings, and they are being exploited. Now listen, the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice, they know that this is going to happen. Do you know how they know it's going to happen? Because it happens all the time. HMP Berwyn, I think it was 38 female prison officers over the last 5 years have been imprisoned. Now, that kind of rate doesn't happen by chance. It happens by neglect. And who is responsible for this neglect of duty? The Home Office and the Ministry of Justice. Now, Mr. Chalk, who is now the Minister of Justice, needs to wake up, have a big cup of coffee, look at this and realise that he is presiding over the next major scandal in the United Kingdom. Because if these convicted female prison officers who are now in prisons, get together and form a class action, they would, in my humble opinion, have an action, a sustainable action against the Ministry of Justice for neglect. Where's the health and safety been done on this? Where's the risk assessment report? They're required to do it. They're hiding behind Crown immunity. It's not working very well for the post office, is it? So come on, have a look at this. She's been sentenced to 18 months in prison, this poor lady, and she'd been engaging in what they called intimate sexual chat, including images. I know the world's moved on since I was at Strangeways, but goodness me, taking pictures of your fanny and sending them to prisoners is not really conducive to good order and discipline, is it? And what's she been receiving in return? Dick pics? The world's gone mad. Stark raving mad. It's time that somebody snapped him and woke up and said, look at this, yeah? She was sentenced by the Judge Dennis Watson, King's Counsel, and he said, it's not the case that this actually led to physical conduct with any of the three men, but it was detrimental to the good order and discipline, and she compromised her position and everyone else in terms of safety on the wings where she was allowed the 3 inmates, and she was aware that they had mobile phones because they were using these mobile phones to send her intimate photographs of their private parts. Not too private parts, by the way, because they're going over the internet and popping up on her phone. And it wasn't once or twice. One of the inmates' phones, showed that she had exchanged over 12,000 calls and texts with one prisoner, almost 9,500 with another prisoner, and 1,200 with a third inmate. She was, as they say in the best crime movies, bang at it, And no doubt when she was lifted to fit in with the actual abomination of her crime, she held her hand up and said, "It's a fair cop, Gov, I done it." Yeah. Williams's lawyer, Mr. Matthew O'Neill, said she was thought to have a personality disorder. I wonder what brought him to that conclusion. A personality disorder, really? All she's done is send pictures of her, I nearly said twat then, but pictures of her fanny to 3 inmates. What's wrong with that, lad? But it seems that her solicitor, her defence solicitor, is saying that she had a diagnosis of bipolar affective disorder. In other words, in the old terms of the psychiatric units, she was partially schizophrenic. That's what her solicitor said. I mean, not me. I mean, I don't know, do I? I'm just advising you of what's been reported in the press. The other incident at HMP Belmarsh that was recently in the news concerned an inmate that murdered that law student in London, and he'd been having physical sexual relations with one of the female prison employees who'd been placed on the wings with this highly dangerous prisoner who'd had 68 previous convictions. A career criminal. And yet, the Ministry of Justice thinks it's perfectly reasonable to allow inexperienced young women onto the landings with these inmates who will, beyond a shadow of a doubt, exploit them, manipulate them, and effectively corrupt them. That's what's happening. But what are the Ministry of Justice and the Home Office doing? Nothing. They won't do anything until somebody, maybe they make a documentary about it, like they did with the post office thing. Because once they did that and everybody's waking up and saying, hang on, whose fault is this? You can't put vulnerable young women in a man's prison with sophisticated career criminals. It's negligence, and I believe it's criminal negligence. So wake up, Mr. Chalk, if you're listening to me. I very much doubt it. But you've got my number. You know where I am. Anyway, I'm going to read you a poem now. Thanks for all watching my live broadcast. I hope you enjoyed it, by the way. That's a song dinger. And by the way, I'm working on my next book. Part 3 of HMP Manchester Prison Officer. It will be hopefully published this year. That's part 2. Yeah. Available at all good computers on Amazon. How about that then? HMP Manchester by John G. Sutton. Shit, I've been falling over there. This is a poem I'm going to read you now by Alfred Lord Tennyson. It's Crossing the Bar. It's about the journey, the transition between this earthly plane and the next. Crossing the Bar by Alfred Tennyson. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea, but such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. I sincerely hope you enjoyed that, folks. Do like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.